garden friends, and welcome to week 9 of This Week in the Garden. I'm standing here in front of the apple espalier because I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on this fruit tree, collection of fruit trees actually, different apples grafted onto one tree. I'm going to be doing a little work on these fruit trees today, but it is Saturday, again, the end of the week for this series, and yeah, this is the first time I'm standing in front of the camera for the week. But there has been stuff going on this week, and I did do some filming. I just didn't do any filming with me talking. I sort of filmed as I was doing a few different projects, and when we take a walk around, I will include that in the video. So yeah, it's a bright and sunny day today, a little bit warm. I'm already sweating, and it's only like, it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday we had some torrential downpours, and you'll see that as we walk through the garden. But we've had a couple of days where we've had some good solid rain, which is great because, one, I don't have to irrigate, which is always good because I'm on a well, and that's always a little bit tricky managing that. But two, it's really given the ground a good soaking, and so the vegetables are just loving it, and they're really starting to take off. It's great to see. So yeah, so let's get started with these fruit trees. I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing with them to kind of set them up for future success. Okay, so it is now the third week of June, after the summer solstice, and what I'm going to do today is prune these espalier branches back to a couple of buds on each of these branches that are coming out of the main branch that's running along the fence. Now, I'm no pruning expert. This is just bits and pieces that I've gleaned from various videos and different sources. But my understanding is when you prune fruit trees like apples and pears in the dormant season before spring, which a lot of people do to shape the tree, that pruning actually spurs new growth of branches. And so if you want a fuller tree, if you want more branching, if you want to change the branching pattern, you prune when it's dormant before spring, late winter, early spring. And when you prune after the summer solstice, it actually doesn't promote growth. It actually slows growth. So if I were to cut this off, say when it was dormant in the late winter, early spring, this would promote new branches to come out, and I don't want that. What I want to promote is more fruit spurs along the horizontal. And so I'm going to take all these branches here that have grown kind of wild, and I'm going to cut them back above like maybe the second node on the branch, and kind of tighten up this whole thing along the fence. And then I'm going to take the leader and tie that further to the fence. So I'm going to do that with all of these that need it, just to show you what I'm doing. I'm not going to spend the whole video doing this, but just kind of to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So let's give it a whirl and see what it looks like. So before I start, I cleaned my pruners with soap and water, and I rubbed them down with isopropyl alcohol, just to make sure that any other diseases that might be on here from other plants aren't going to get transferred to fruit trees. And you should make sure you do this before you prune a fruit tree and in between trees as well, just to make sure you're not transferring diseases. So first I'm going to attack this upper branch here, and I'm going to count 1, 2 nodes, and I'm going to cut it right above that at an angle. And I'm just going to go along the branch here and do the same thing with the next one. Count 2 nodes and cut it off. And so I'm just going to continue along this branch and clean it up. Okay, you can see that I've cleaned up the entire branch, and then at the end here this is the leader. And of course I didn't bring my tying material, my little plastic tubing tie, with me into the garden before I started this video. So I'll do this later, but I'm just going to take this and tie this right here to the fence, nice and secure, so that it continues to grow horizontally as the rest of the branch grows. So yeah, so now I'm just going to continue on with the next branch. This one's got some fruit on it, so I'm going to make sure, even if it's more than 2 nodes above, obviously I'm not going to cut fruit off, so I'll cut it above the fruit. But yeah, there's some really long branches here that need to come off. So I'll continue doing that and show you the results later. Alright, let's turn from the fruit trees to the rest of the garden, which is really starting to look very lush and green. I have to show you these. Look at these sunflowers already. This is, I don't know what variety, this actually doesn't look like mammoth. I thought it was a mammoth, but it's got multiple flowers on it, which is not typical of mammoth. But this is almost as tall as I am. I'm holding the camera level here at my face, and I'm 5'7". So yeah, that's pretty tall already. It's very cool. This is the berry fruit row. The blackberries are looking really good, as are the elderberries, which are loving all this heavy rain we've been having. Another big sunflower. So yeah, let's take a little wander and see what has been going on in the garden. Lots of good stuff this week. So our potatoes are flowering, which, from what little I know about growing potatoes, when they start to flower, apparently you can dig some new potatoes. I don't know, I'm going to let them go a bit longer before I start digging around in the ground. But they are just looking really healthy this year. So whatever this row, whatever magic this particular row has, it's working. Oop. Sadly, not working on the Mahan sweet potatoes, which is just, we've got what, 3, I think? Maybe 4, if we're lucky. But the Beauregard sweet potatoes are loving the heat and the rain we've been having, and are looking great. I don't know why my camera is auto-focusing. Stop it. Anyway, so the squashes are already starting to vine, which is great. And, oh wait, little side video here. The cucumbers are almost able to reach the fence. I actually pushed one up through the fence this morning, and it's just about there. So in a couple days I'll start threading these up here on the fence, so it gets them up off the ground. But they're looking great already and have flowers on them. This one here has flowers, so soon we'll have fresh cucumbers. Oh, cucumber beetle. Ah, my first cucumber beetle I just killed. Alright, so we'll have to start the morning patrol for cucumber beetles. That's the best time to snag them, is first thing in the morning. They're kind of sleepy from, not sleepy, but just slow because of the chillier temperatures. Sorry for the jerking camera, but I'm chasing cucumber beetles as I film. Anyway, so come out first thing in the morning and squish cucumber beetles. Tomatoes, looking ridiculous. We'll have to do, this upcoming week, we'll have to do a little bit more pruning and training of the tomatoes. But yeah, the squashes are really starting to look great. And then up here on summer squash, we have our first baby squash. first baby squashes. And we also need to start monitoring for squash bugs. And then we have our first zucchinis. And of course, you know this means that the onslaught of zucchini and summer squash will be starting soon. We'll be hiding zucchini in our neighbors' porches. All right, back up a little bit and look at the peas. The snap peas are flowering, so it won't be long now before we have yummy, sweet snap peas. I'm so excited. Yay! And come down here. The snow peas are also flowering, so it won't be long before we'll be harvesting snow peas. Very excited about that. Just look how green everything is. The beans are looking fantastic, and these right here are black turtle beans, which we won't harvest until the bean pods are all dry, and then we transition into the first planting of jade beans, and then the second planting has popped up. You can see right here, and then in another week or so maybe we'll do a third sowing in the rest of the row here, so we'll have plenty of green beans. The French fillet beans growing really well, as are the peppers. Oh my goodness, look at all these peppers. Beautiful, beautiful peppers. It's so exciting when you start to see the fruits of all your labor. This is great. Okay. Pollinator row is really starting to grow. Hey, that rhymes. Lots of flowers blossoming. I've been trying to deadhead, get in here and deadhead every other day. Just take a walk up and down the aisle. Still have a little bit of staking to do, but the sunflowers are really starting to reach upward. And this one. Beautiful. Can't wait to see this row fill in. It's going to be so beautiful. Next door, you can see that's all cauliflower. Different types of cauliflower. Looking pretty good. I think we're through the worst of the flea beetles, so these have been looking pretty good. You'll notice some leaves here in the aisleway. I had to clean out the one side of my rhubarb patch that was hanging over the perennial holding row and sort of smothering some of the perennials. So I just took the leaves and I laid them down in the aisleway to decompose. It'll help keep weeds down and yeah, add some organic matter to the soil, which will be flipped up into the beds later on. It's the broccoli row. And then on the other side, this aisleway, this is all comfrey. I cut my comfrey patch down. I think I have some video of that. So I walk along here and it crunches. So I cut the comfrey patch down and just laid everything here in the aisle. And it'll help suppress weeds, and then the leaves rot pretty quickly into the soil, add minerals to the soil. And then by the end of the year, any of the stalks that haven't rotted down, I'll probably end up raking up and throwing into the compost pile to further compost down. Let's go down here and check the cabbages. Some of these cabbages are really starting to look nice. Starting to head up there a little bit. That's good. And then the kales, looking great. Now that the flea beetles are done decimating them. I am going to be starting to spray with dipel, which is BT, because the cabbage moths will start coming in and laying their eggs on the kale every year. Flea beetles and cabbage moths are my two huge pests in this garden, and they do a lot of damage. So managing them is always a challenge. So here's some more cabbage that is still under row cover because the rest of the row is also brassica crops. Lift this up here. But these cabbages are looking great too. Starting to head up nicely. Isn't that beautiful? Nice green, healthy cabbage. All right. Some weeding to do. We've been keeping up on the weeding, actually. I'm pretty impressed with myself and Silvia. We've been hitting the weeds pretty hard, and I have to say it looks pretty good, at least from a distance. Up close, the weed load still in this garden is just incredible. Let me see if I can find a good example of what I'm talking about. Here we go. I don't know if my camera will zoom in here, but all in here, see all these little itty bitty seedlings. So basically we've just been hoeing them up. You can see this is freshly hoed. Hoeing them up, and just have to keep on top of them at this size so that they then don't become this size, which becomes even more difficult to hoe. But it's never ending. Ugh. I think they say one season of weeds is like 7 years of misery, something along that line. I believe it. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Let's go back over here. Step over rows. So I just harvested some arugula this morning, just by hand, cut the edge here, but there's still quite a bit more that I'll have to harvest. And I've been kind of lazy. I haven't sown the next crop yet. I need to do that this weekend. All right. The beets, I'm just going to step over the arugula and over the beets again. So the beets are looking great. I can actually start harvesting some of these greens to eat. But yeah, they're looking really good. The spinach has bolted, as you can see. Not all of it, but most of it is bolting. So I'm going to pull that soon. There's a few leaves here. I did sow some new spinach right in here. Oh, and actually, you can see it right here, starting to come up. I think I told you that the space spinach seed that I had ordered early this year in January had really poor germination. So I talked with Johnny's and got new seed, and I'm just doing a test patch here of the new spinach seed, and already it's looking a lot better. So this will be the last spinach I sow until probably August, when I will get the fall crop grown in trays and plug trays and plant that out for fall harvest. There are two packages of Bolero carrot seed planted in this section here. One was 2 years old and one was last year, so we'll see how that comes up. And then I tarped the remainder of the rows to keep the weeds down. Further down here, get away from the glare of the white tarp. Woo! The corn. This is the newer seed corn, already probably at least a foot tall. And then we re-sowed the poorly germinating, what is my camera doing? The poorly germinating older seed, and it looks really good. A lot of it came up the second time around, and so it looks like we've got pretty much a full crop of corn. So very excited about that. This is the red Floriani corn that will grind up into cornmeal for things like polenta and cornbread. All right, since we're down at this end of the garden, there's the lettuce, the end of the lettuce patch here. I do have new lettuce that will go in this week up at the top of this row. And I've started harvesting. Actually, all of this could be harvested right now. I've been harvesting heads of lettuce here. And then I started harvesting some of the Salanova. You can see some gaps here to make up a salad mix. I really need to probably harvest this week before it starts to get bitter. But it's all looking really good. Let me just hop over, look at all the weeds, hop over here, show you the comfrey patch that was just mowed down. And it'll bounce right back already. I mean, it looks like it's coming back. You cannot kill this stuff. And as you can see, I still have some weeding to do. Yep. Yeah. So all is not perfect in this garden. There are weeds. Okay. So here's the onions. These are shallots down at this end. Looking pretty good. And then the rest of the onion patch. Coming along. Excuse me. Still allergy season. You can see the rhubarb patch is starting to sort of flatten out, wilt down a bit. Rhubarb season is almost over. So all these leaves, I'll just let compost into the ground. But yeah, ridiculous amount of rhubarb. And the asparagus patch, I sprayed it once with BT, and it's looking okay. Most of the asparagus beetle larvae have disappeared, but I'll keep an eye on it and reapply if necessary. Okay, it is sometime later on Saturday, and I'm done with the fruit row. Did some big stuff in here. I'm pretty excited about it. So the apple, with the 6 different varieties of apples, that's been cleaned up, clipped back, and additional ties in. So that's looking neat and tidy. And you know, all this new growth that's headed in the right direction, the leader here, got tied in. So it's headed in the right direction. So that apple is looking really good. And lots of nice, beautiful apples. Aren't they pretty? Over here on the pear, didn't need a whole lot of work, but a few of the side branches were clipped. Actually, I pulled off the beginnings of some sort of tent caterpillar building around this pear. You can see it damaged the flesh here, but removed all the foliage that had any sign of that worm on it, and destroyed the foliage. It's gone in the trash. So nipped that in the bud, but these pears are looking really good. And then on this side, trimmed everything down and got this young leader tied to the fence, so it'll continue to grow in the right direction. Over here, this is the most drastic bit. I finally just went for it with the plum. I've been hemming and hawing, and yeah, I just needed to do it. And I probably took off a little more than I should have, but I'm just gonna see what happens. So this is the 5 variety plum that was growing in all directions. It was not an Espalier variety or tree. It had not been grafted to be in espalier form. And you can see it still bulges out from the fence quite a bit. But I think I have all 5 separated, narrowed down to a branch or 2 for each variety. This V right here, this branch, is the Methley plum, and I decided to leave these 2 branches for now, and then I bent them back to the fence, tied them to the fence, and then cut the top off at an angle so the rain will run down and not sit on it. And then this is going to be the branch that I train out on this V, part of the V. And then over here on this part of the V, the same thing. Tied this main branch, as you can see, to the fence twice to hold it really tight. And then this small branch that is in the right direction is going to be the one that I train on the fence. So hopefully that'll work. And then the Santa Rosa plum here, I also narrowed down to these 2 branches and tied those to the fence going this way. So I think finally it's sort of taking shape. We'll see. I did cut a lot of foliage off, so hopefully it'll be okay. I'll give it a little fertilizer in a couple of weeks and make sure it stays well watered. And over here on the Macintosh, didn't really need a whole lot. I think I clipped off a couple of little branches, but it didn't really need much. This I'm kind of waiting on. There's an apple here, but I'll eventually tie this here to the fence. It's not really a big rush right now to do it. But yeah, there's a nice apple there. Or, yeah, 1 apple. So I have, actually, just dawning on me, wait a minute, I have a Macintosh. My 1 Macintosh apple. Yay! Hopefully next year this will really flower. And why is my camera doing that? My camera is possessed today. Yeah, hopefully next year this will flower more and we'll have more Macintosh apples. Well, I think that's it for week 9 of This Week in the Garden. It's officially summer, high summer, past the solstice, so the garden is really starting to crank up, and pretty soon we will be harvesting more than we can eat of all sorts of vegetables and fruits, I hope. So again, thank you for joining me. I do appreciate that you're here, and come back next week to see what's going on in the garden. Take care. Bye.